This is a story you are not going to want to miss. I am going to jump right into it. I've got Holly Howe today, and I think if you've been thinking about writing an ebook but think you don't have a big enough audience, a big enough list, enough traffic to sell to, or you don't know what you're doing, or you have no money to hire a designer, this is the perfect interview for you to hear. Holly's story is super inspiring. It all comes down to she makes no excuses and she found a way around every single one of her hurdles. So take a listen, and I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. Hey everybody, this is Sylvia McCracken from sylviamccracken.com, and I've got with me today Holly Howe from makesauerkraut.com. Holly is one of my star students in my Create Passive Income with Ebook course, and I wanted to invite her on today just to chat a little bit about her results and what she's done. So welcome, Holly, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So let's just talk a little bit about, this will be a refresher for me because you told me probably close to a year ago now. What were you doing with your blog when you started? Before you took the course, before you started creating your ebook, where was your blog? If you remember how much traffic you had or anything like that, or how you were monetizing it, that would be awesome to know.
Well, I launched my blog in September of 2014. And at that point, it wasn't until after I launched my ebook that I had monetized it at all.
Okay, so you weren't making any money at all from your blog?
No, zero, nada, nothing.
Okay, cool. So you were just like doing it as a hobby, basically, just to help people.
No, I wouldn't say I was doing it as a hobby. I was slowly building the business and knew I wanted to do an ebook and eventually affiliate income, but I didn't have the traffic up there high enough for the affiliate income off of Amazon.
Mm-hmm. So you hadn't even started.
Yeah, totally new and just learning the process, but was definitely planning on making income with it.
Awesome. Okay. And what was your knowledge of blogging or business or online business or anything like that?
All self-taught, just gradually going through, finding different websites talking about passive income. Smart Passive Income with Pat Flynn was my primary source for getting a lot of good information and just slowly building it.
Awesome.
I think I came across you buying your gelatin book. Because gelatin was a big component of my website and part of the digestive issues.
Yeah. So I mean, the gelatin book that Holly's talking about is from my other business, HollywoodHomestead.com, where one of my ebooks is called The Gelatin Secret, which is so funny because later on, I finally sort of noticed that a lot of the people that have come through the course have either bought that book or the SIBO book, which is really interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting where everybody comes from.
Yeah, exactly. So tell me about the process, like when you decided to jump on, take the course and started thinking about what ebook to create. What was that process like for you? Did you have something in mind already, or?
I had something in mind, but it wasn't a real clear goal. I knew I wanted to write a book on how to make sauerkraut. A lot of people emphasize the need to, that not everybody wants to get information off the web. They want to hold some type of booklet in their hands, had something organized. Mm-hmm. So at that point, I was just working on trying to get the how to make sauerkraut information into a book. Mm-hmm. And then started developing different recipes.
Okay.
Because I found that was a key way to get people interested in sauerkraut, that it wasn't just plain, cabbage and salt, that you could add a lot of neat, unique flavors to it. And so I eventually had a set of recipes, and that ended up being my mini ebook through working with you and trying to fine tune how to, because the full book wasn't ready to launch. So then that became my little mini ebook to launch. And so that kind of got my feet wet, and then I'm working on writing the big book at this point.
Awesome. And that's one thing I love is that you, every step of the way, with every hurdle that you encountered, I feel like you still took action and you went to the next step. And that's really what separates, people that get results from people that don't get results. I've got plenty of people in the course that have not logged in once. So, obviously the results there are guaranteed to be pretty much zero, but you're one of those people that have taken actions, have asked the questions, has been really encouraging in the group. So I really appreciate that. So tell me about when you launched your ebook. What was the reaction that you got from your readers?
I had 50. I always remember hearing about your numbers, and it was part of what drew me into the course. I think you were getting 100,000 monthly visitors and had, I forget what size your email list was.
From when I launched my very first book?
Well, at one, you had you had 3 ebooks going, you were making 100,000 annual income off of that.
Right.
And that was to me, a very doable task, because it's amazing that you can make that much off of a couple books, and then realizing that, any of us can do that a book at a time.
Exactly.
And so my traffic at that time was around 15 to 20,000. And my email list was 500, I think. And so, sales went well to me, I sold, I think, about 25 books when I first launched, which with an audience of email list of 500, I felt good about that. And it's just been sitting on autopilot since then, and selling about 10 to 15 books a month. And it's gradually going up.
Right.
And,
I mean, that's the incredible part, is that, it's not like this huge, massive launch. The minute you put your ebook out there, it's like you can retire and move to, Bali. But it's just that the fact that you've done the work, you have that product available for sale right now as we're having this conversation for someone to go ahead and buy. So, it's that trickle of sales that you can build upon that is I think is huge. And it's why your story resonates so much, I think, with so many people, is that you really take those incremental steps. You do that, that first amount of work, and then you iterate along the way, and you already know how you can make that second ebook better. And it's just building upon the first and having a second product for your people to be able to purchase. Right.
And there's that confidence building and realizing, you can do it. And it is one small step at a time. And
that's amazing. I mean, I think the really key takeaway that I hope people have when hearing your story is that, you went from having a blog that made zero money, and relatively quickly you produced a product that, started to generate income, basically, not only just that month while you were working on it, or as soon as you finished working on it, but on a recurring basis from now until you decide to take it down someday, if you do.
Right. Exactly.
So that's pretty incredible. So what would you suggest to someone that has a very small email list, that has very small traffic to their blog? They're just starting out. Maybe they've been blogging for 3 or 6 months. What would you suggest to them in regards to monetizing that blog, or what steps to take?
Well, I think if you keep, and this came somewhat from Pat Flynn and Smart Passive Income, if you keep a relationship going, you keep delivering quality content, as long as you have a topic that's of interest out there, your traffic's going to grow just like automatically. I'm shocked, within the last 2 months, my traffic has doubled, and I'm up to like 40,000 visitors.
Amazing.
And I'm not doing anything special, but really putting in the time and effort to deliver quality material, and really taking the time to interact with my readers when they email and make comments. So you can actually build this big tribe. And then now I have a huge group of people, because I think my email list is up to over 3,000.
Wow.
And so now I have this huge group of people who I've built a relationship with over time. And it's probably better that the ebook hasn't been released yet, because when it does get released, it's going to get snapped up. And it's given me time to really learn to develop relationships on Facebook and starting to get to know people out there, because as bloggers, we sit in one little world in front of our computer, and it's very easy for us not to interact with anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it's nice to have that time, even though the next ebook is not ready to be published and probably won't be until the first of the year. There's other pieces that will work together, and it's like being patient for the process and realizing it will happen in due time. If you try to force it, it's not going to happen. But to be able to access the course and access the different modules and work through them one-on-one, and be able to get on Facebook and have you there and answering questions, you can make that small incremental progress.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I really think that, you really took that advice to heart, as far as, selecting the right topic and those tweaks that you're going to make on that second ebook. And now your first ebook is giving you really that interaction with your customer base to see, okay, how did this resonate? Where was it missing something? How can I improve on the next one? And, trying to iterate that in your head, or trying to, brainstorm it by yourself is sort of impossible.
Right. It's really a nice way to do a practice run, because it is not the full book, and it was, so it's a smaller price point, but it's a good way to practice the whole process. And then when the next one comes out, you've already play with all the pieces. Done one trial run, then you can improve on the next run through.
Totally. And one thing I remember you sharing in the Facebook group, we have a Facebook group for our customers, so there's a lot of activity in there. And Holly is one of the people that is always giving some helpful advice to others. So I really appreciate that. I remember you mentioned, you did your own design for this first ebook. So what would you recommend to someone that is working on their ebook as far as design goes?
It's a hard one because I had no income coming in. And so it's very hard to outsource, but that to me is one of your unique selling positions, is that the outsourcing can really make a huge difference. You see that with Chris Drucker's book on virtual freedom. There's no way you're going to build a business on your own. And so you keep forcing us to do that. And I think you gradually, with that in the back of your mind, you gradually start going, okay, I can outsource this. So then I'm going to start making a little schematic step by step as I do it for a few times. And then when I'm ready to outsource it, the pieces are together for that. But forgot your specific question. Oh,
well, it was more about, I just remember you saying with the design, you did it yourself, which is important, but it probably took you a while. How long do you think?
It took hours and hours and hours and hours, and it was crazy to spend that much time.
Right.
And I think the big mistake was trying to make it look like a finished product before all the text was written, before all the recipes were done, because you want to have it look nice.
Right.
So, that it's hard to pay to outsource that. And I think it's fine for your first go round to do what you can. You learn the process, and then you learn what you need to share with others.
100%.
But outsourcing is definitely key. I haven't hired anybody yet, but I do have kind of WordPress outsourcing going on, so that helps.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think, it's interesting because you can do it, it's kind of, you can toggle that switch a little bit. So you can either DIY the whole thing, or you can outsource, 80% of it, or somewhere in between, and you can kind of pick and choose what it is that you're ready to do. But a lot of when I did my very first one, I did a lot of it myself in terms of writing the sales page, which I'm no copywriter, and all of that. But it's one of those things where you don't have to do it one way or the other. You can certainly bootstrap it and then reinvest as some proceeds come in to improve along the way. So that's really helpful as well.
And then the one thing I keep coming back to is your number one module on mindset. And I've read the Big Leap book time and time again, and it's amazing how that holds you back. And I'm finding it now when I check my traffic and I see the numbers going up. It's almost in reverse order, that whole mindset issue. It's almost the fear of seeing the blog growing and the ability to monetize it really growing, and Amazon affiliate income starting to come in. It's almost like you want to see the numbers go down.
Yeah, well, it's, mindset it's one of those things. I mean, I keep, that's what I said in module 1 is, so for those of you that don't know, in the Create Passive Income with Ebooks course, ironically, mindset is module 1, which might sound like it has nothing to do with creating ebooks. But what we've noticed with, myself and all the students is that mindset is sort of that first and constant hurdle that you've got to just keep working on every step of the game. So yeah, you'll notice that now that things are really starting to grow, you might start having all those same fears sort of bubble up again of, who am I to be successful, or who am I to be a leader in this space, or stuff like that. So that's really cool that you're paying attention to that. That's awesome. So, and is there any other, in terms of business, you've talked about the income that started to come in and some of that confidence that it's given you to work on that second ebook, and how your platform is growing and you're starting to interact with your customers. Is there anything any collateral benefits that have come up in terms of your family life or your personal life or you as a person in general? Is there anything there that you've seen shift?
I guess definitely being, a full-time mother through the whole process, previously, and now starting to get that own freedom back to realize, you're a unique individual with your own skills and talents has been probably the biggest shift and that's very empowering to see that happening, to switch over from parenting to being a independent, entrepreneur businesswoman. It's a really neat, empowering feeling.
That's awesome. And I think that that will inspire so many people. I actually was at a conference recently, and that's one of the people I met was someone that had been a stay-at-home mom her whole life and was just about to start wanting to get into something, and was wondering, is it too late? Or, I've just, she has a couple of 30 something sons. And so, but has all this passion inside her and wants to really share it with the world. And I think that it's so empowering to see, you doing that. And I think that you're going to motivate a lot of people to do the same.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It was, when ebooks sales started coming in, I tell the family, I sold the book. I sold the book. I sold one last night when are you sharing email numbers or I'm up to this. And then all of a sudden those numbers really don't matter anymore
Yep.
because they're just going to happen on their own. And you just, more the empowering feeling of, like you say, sharing your skills and having a professional way to do it does make a difference that the book's put together properly and it is marketed. You don't have to put a lot of effort into the marketing. It kind of sells itself, but at least it's the pieces are put together properly, which, we learned through the course.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and that's the whole point. I mean, it's the whole point is for it to sell passively so that you can work on whether it's your next ebook or be with your children or do what you want to do. So putting together the right ebook so that it can sell by itself is really the key to that.
Yes.
Well, Holly, I really appreciate your time. Where can people find you if they just want to check out your work, check out your website?
Makesauerkraut.com, and I'm on Twitter barely, and just learning the whole Facebook process. I'm on Make Sauerkraut on Facebook too.
That's perfect. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Holly. And I encourage anyone to check out Holly's work, check out her ebook on her site. And if you want to learn more about Create Passive Income with ebooks, just go to sylviemccracken.com. We'll put the link below the video.
Okay, and one last thing I have to say is what I've really appreciated about your course is you are constantly learning and sharing that with us. And the course itself, it's not like it's a dead course that you produced and you're done with and you're not working on anymore. You're continually upgrading the course and adding more material. And to me, that's a real valuable asset of a course. So many times you purchase them and they're done and then you never see any new material in the course. So that's nice to keep seeing that.
I really appreciate that, Holly. I'll keep doing that for you guys.
Okay, thank you.
All right, So I hope you loved that interview with Holly. I think her story is super inspiring. If you want to leave her a high five below in the comments, I'd love to see that. I love the cheering people on aspect. I think that can give us all a lot of momentum to keep going. She's working on her next book. So if you can just leave her a comment and give her a high five and tell her you were inspired by her story, if that's what the case was, then I'd love that. And until next time, I will see you soon.